Well, I hope your week went better than ours. We are in Fairbanks, Alaska today.
Still?
Yeah, still. This is was our 8th night here. Little gem of an Overlander spot next to the river.
It is just a spot kind of like in a grassy nook area, but it definitely beats spending the week in the Walmart parking lot.
Well, you're probably wondering, why were we in Fairbanks for a week? Not that it's a bad place. We've actually had a pretty good time, but we had a problem on the Fuso. We were broken down, but not really broken down, if you know what I mean. The problem was the temperature gauge was pegging hot. And normally
erratically, though, not like the engine was actually
exactly.
overheating.
So it was instrumentation, meaning a sending unit on the side of the engine. We did 2 sending units just because, and thanks to the help of some mates down in Australia on a Canter Fuso Facebook group, Russ, buddy here in Fairbanks, Mike, Dan, I was able to brainstorm some ideas, but it ultimately came down to you potentially have a problem with your one of the grounds or one of the sending units. So we opted for the sending units, which also segues into why were we here for so long. We did take advantage of it, but we had to order the parts. You can't like just go to Napa and get parts for something like this.
No, which would have been okay had there not been an active God. They would have been here a little faster, but first of all, it took us a little bit to figure out what we needed. It really does take a village to keep this thing running. Like, all of our friends helped us out. It was so awesome.
Just brainstorming. It pays to bounce ideas off of people.
And then we order the parts from the Fuso guys that we've gotten to know in San Diego. They put the order in, which has to come out of Jersey. And then the hurricane hit the East Coast.
But, so now the Jersey folks were able to directly ship it to us in Alaska, which was great.
And it got here fast.
Yes.
Like, once it finally was moving, like, it flew out sometime on Wednesday, and it was here by Thursday night.
This was also a good opportunity to meet up with an internet friend, Mike. We have been chatting for a long time and finally got to cross paths. He was nice enough to let us ship the part to his house and even invited us over to his off-road group's evening meetup, and they invited us to be able to put the part in their driveway, which was super convenient, having some extra tools and a drip pan.
And brains.
Oh yeah, extra eyes, but all in all, servicing this truck with the cab that tilts forward, it is very refreshing.
Yeah.
When you're used to having to work around fender wells and cowling and all these other obstacles.
And I still stand by the fact that, aside from replacing the fuel filter on a regular basis, this truck has been a rock star.
It has.
It really has been great.
Well, I know there was a little bit of a spoiler in the title of this video, but we are here in Fairbanks because we're heading up to the Arctic again. The Dalton is one of the last major highways. There's a few sub-stretches of highways that we still need to traverse here in Alaska, but this is going to be a grand opportunity.
And a grand adventure.
Yeah, 500 miles from Fairbanks up to the very top of the continent. Now, while we're here, we have been getting other stuff ready for this trip. This is our diesel burning stovetop, and we are having issues, and I'm thinking it's something along the lines of a little loose connection back here, but watch, if I wiggle, see? That's signs you have a very poor connection. Before I go and jump into this, there is a connector back here that I just kind of break the plane on, and that cuts off power to the stove. This is a DIY camper, so this is pretty much just screwed to a chunk of wood that's used to hold, I don't know, what would you call this, the control unit, into place. There's a little closer look at where the harness goes into the back of this control unit. Now it's time to inspect things, and that's a two-hand job. Okay, just like I suspected once I got my hands on it. This little connector end off the harness was not fully seated into here. Totally easy. This vehicle and most RVs and travel and adventure vehicles are bouncing down the road all the time, and stuff like this is just a fact of life. Okay, powering things up. Pull that down for a few seconds. The panel lights up. That orange or amber colored light on the top right lights up, and then it kind of like prepares itself, and after a certain point that red burner light will light up. I'm really glad this was a relatively simple one, because we love this stove on so many levels. It's not just where we can cook food, but with the addition of this blower lid here, what that does is it takes hot air and blows it over that surface. So we're heading into the Arctic. And yes, it is summer, but it is still the Arctic, so temperatures are realistically gonna be in the 40 degrees Fahrenheit range, and a heater comes in very handy. Another reason why we love this thing is because it's diesel and it works off the same fuel as our engine. And it's also like having a campfire in the camper. And one more thing while it kind of boots up, for lack of another word, this right here is where combustion air comes into the stove. And what that does is that takes humid air from inside the camper and burns it through this combustion chamber right up in here, and your humidity goes right out the side of the camper. And if you have camped in any type of vehicle in cold temperatures, you will know that humidity and condensation are your worst enemy. And there it goes. We have positive combustion, and we are cooking with fire, and we can keep ourselves warm in the Arctic. Another thing we like to do before starting a new chapter or starting an adventure is clean up a little bit. Things have a way of getting really cluttered in here. And I'll tell you, that junk bin is a mess. Well, I spent a couple minutes reorganizing this side of our dinette storage. It's not super deep because right around there is where our lithium battery bank and all the wiring is hidden. Now this little compartment under the floor of the dinette is quite nice, and it's a wonderful shoe bin. Yeah, no, definitely not boots, but shoes, and it goes 3 feet back. So albeit not a very deep vertically storage area, it does allow deep storage for things like this right here. A few of your shoes have found their way in there to here, honey. This is my little mobile hardware store. I keep screws, bolts, nuts, washers, wiring stuff, a little bit of everything. And a little bit of everything also ends up in this acrylic thing that sits on the kitchen table, and I know I can store some of it in here and clean up a mess. That's a lot better. A Sharpie highlighter, lighter, little USB memory stick, our memberships to grocery stores when we travel, a Ziploc baggie for coins to keep that chaos under control, and an accessible Ziploc baggie with AA and AAA batteries. Okay, this is a lot better. So down low here, obviously Beck's purse goes with her. That acrylic case of camera gear heads up to the truck every day. The ice maker, quick update on it. We love this thing, it's awesome, but the ice has a taste. And it does not taste good, and it's probably something chemical related. So when we get back home, we are going to take this New Air ice maker into the house and just let it run, maybe run some vinegar through it, and then we'll give our final judgment on it. But if it didn't have the taste, that thing is a rock star. And we carry 3 extra gallons of drinking water just so we can make ice, but it just tastes too bad right now. Okay, dinette is back together. Computer, that kind of stays out. This heads out to the truck with me all the time. The little acrylic basket. Gotta love having a little multi-screwdriver. I seriously use this thing every day. Took a little liberty and experimentation on our messy cord system here. Like seriously, our wireless world is full of cords. It is a nightmare. But all in all, the dinette is not looking that bad. This is a little bit off topic, but I don't think we've ever shared this with you. It is our travel printer. You don't always need to print things, but there are times when you have to print something and you do not want to take up a ton of space. So we found a battery operated HP printer that fits in this case. There's like no wasted space. It is wonderful. All right, this is it in action. Very compact. All right, we are also having a problem with the jets because it has not been used enough. Wow, that sucks. That's not getting any better. Well, that's a wrap for this video. We really just wanted to check in with you guys this week. I know this isn't a super glamorous video, but it is real life and everybody experiences it. Truck has been filled up with fuel, water, everything is empty, and we are in business.
And hitting the road.
Yes, and hitting the road. So stay tuned for an adventure up the Dalton Highway into the Arctic.